What it do with the YouTube? It's your boy Swiper480 back at it again with another video today. Subject on hand is Mexican OT. So Mexican OT, he went up there to Angela Yee. They interviewed him. They asked him a question. They asked him, do you feel like you could say the N-word? That's the question they asked him now.
You're from the South. Obviously, you grew up a different kind of way. And you're a rapper too. Do you feel like you could say the N-word?
Alright, now, so Mexican OT is really going to have to tread lightly on what his response is going to be. We live in a time where cancel culture is real. Previously, before they asked him this question, they were talking about cancel culture. So let's see if they lined him up to get canceled.
I feel like I can say it, but not because of that, and I'm going to tell you why. I wish there was some black dudes in here.
So when Mexican OT asked for black dudes, I'm already automatically thinking bro's gonna get on some BS. He obviously sees it's a couch full of women. There's not a black man in sight. So I'm not too sure if his response is gonna be aggressive or what it's gonna be. You know, let's check it out.
Will right there.
And there's one right here. Not.
Okay, well, we're going to use him.
Okay, that's my manager. Hey,
Because
Will.
me and Fee know what's up.
Well, you're black. I'm saying.
What the fuck are you going to do about it, you know?
Alright, so right now it looks like things ain't going too well. He scanned around the room. He said, you know, I wish there was a black dude. The lady said, there is a black dude in here. His name is Will. He said, alright, well, we're going to use Will as an example. He then proceeded to say, what the F are you going to do about it? What the F are you going to do about it? Now, that sounds like he's challenging people to, you know, to either do something about him saying the N-word or to not do something about him saying the N-word, just to leave it alone if you're not going to do something about the N-word. I'm taking it as bro's challenging, you know, he's challenging people to make him stop using the N-word, which isn't a good look because it could borderline make you seem racist. But I'm not saying he's racist, but it could borderline make you seem like you're racist. I'm not too sure what's going on. Let's go ahead and watch the rest of the clip.
And then second of all, I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them. I grew up eating with them. I grew up fucking doing bad shit with them. I grew up loving with them. You know, I got family. And it's not even about family. Even if I wasn't related to nobody out black, I mean, it was shit. It's what the fuck I was surrounded by, you know?
Alright, so now Mexican OT is backtracking. He started off with, what the F are you going to do about it, to, I grew up with them, I grew up loving them, you know, I grew up fighting them, I grew up eating with them. And I understand that Mexican OT is from Texas, and, you know, that's very true. He probably did grow up with them his whole life. However, his immediate circle of African Americans, his immediate circle of black folks, if they're okay with him using that word, then I feel like he should be allowed to use that word when he's with them. However, the world of African Americans, the world of black people, is a lot bigger than his circle. There's black people outside of his circle that don't even know who those black people are, and everybody has their take on the N-word. Since he's, you know, famous, he's a rapper, he's a public figure, and when he gets behind the camera and he decides to use the N-word, that video, that footage is going out to black people all over, you know, the world basically, whoever watches it, and they're gonna feel some type of way about him using that word. They weren't raised with him, they didn't grow up with him, so they have every right to feel that type of way. You got some black folks that ain't even cool with Mexicans like that. Just because blacks and Mexicans in Texas are cool don't mean that blacks and Mexicans in other states are cool. And that's one thing he needs to understand. The world is bigger than Texas. You know, the world is bigger than Arizona. The world is bigger than California. And you got black people everywhere that are going to feel some type of way if you decide to use that word or not. My take on it, though, about the whole N-word, I feel like the African American community needs to put some blame on themselves as well for these other races deciding to use the N-word, because they definitely do pick and choose on who they want to use the word and who they don't want to use the word, and then every single individual African American has their own opinion. I believe, like, the whole N-word pass, like, I'm gonna give you the N-word pass, you got the N-word pass. I feel like whoever came up with that, they need a DP, honestly. I feel like the American community needs to start checking their people when they hear them talk about an N-word pass, because that's just opening the door for these other races to say the N-word. I understand that, you know, it's wrong for other races to use the N-word, but why even play with that subject at all and allow that to happen by talking about an N-word pass? It is all crazy to me. Me personally, I don't use the N-word. I know that it causes a lot of drama and it causes a lot of problems, so, you know, I choose just to stay away from the whole N-word word, period, point blank. This is just my take on it, though. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion. I don't really bump or listen to Mexican OT. You know, he is a cool guy. I don't believe he's racist. He did double down and say, what the F are you gonna do about it? And I believe that's gonna cause a lot of problems for him. You know, so the black community is gonna look at it like, bro, you challenging us now. You challenging us. Which is crazy. So he might have to come out with an apology, or he might have to, you know, do a retake and speak about that. But anyways, like I said, this is just my opinion. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, drop down your opinions in the comments. If you're African American, if you're black, drop down your opinion in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you're Mexican, drop down your opinion in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you're white, drop down your opinion. Everybody drop down their opinion. Let me know what you think about other races using the N-word. With all that being said, peace.